and I welcome you all to today's podcast on the topic Smooth Transition from Schools to University. Yet another episode of our series, It's a Matter of Principles. And I'm delighted to have with us the principal for the day, Ms. Suchita Malakar, the principal of Gopi Birla Memorial School based out of Mumbai, whose rich experience in helping students and educating them has been very valuable and perspective. I also welcome our host for the session for today, Dr. Navneet Sharma, the Dean of the Kedge Business School, Mumbai campus at Vijayabhumi University, who will guide us through this engaging conversation. Welcome, sir. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank
I
you.
thank I
Thank you
thank
very
you both
much.
for joining us today. And let's begin this meaningful discussion on smooth transition from schools to universities. Over to you, Navneet, sir.
Thank you, Taneji. And let me at the outset mention that every year, lakhs of students cross a very important bridge from schools to university. On paper, it looks like progress, but emotionally, academically, and psychologically, many students feel lost. They ask themselves, why does no one tell us how different the university really is? Why do toppers suddenly feel like average? Why does freedom feel more stressful than school discipline? These are some of the questions which many students ask me, and I observe them as a university educator. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by Ms. Suchita Malakar, Principal of Gopi Birla Memorial School, Mumbai. And in this conversation, I want to dig deeper into why this transition proves to be more difficult than it appears on the surface of it. Ms. Malakar, students often say we are prepared for exams, but not for life after the school. From your experience as a school teacher, what makes the school to university transition so challenging today? Over to you.
Thank you, sir. And well, I do believe it's a very pertinent question because we do see that every parent, every child is anxious of what they're going to move into post grade 12. So it's very important that we somewhere address it at its, at the lowest rung so that it's much more comfortable for the children as they move ahead. But where I have felt the gap is more than they receive the curriculum. It is more important how they receive the environment in a college. So maybe somewhere we have to make them self-reliant, make them more comfortable, more responsible about their behavior further in the college. Because at the school level, we are more accommodative, we are more understanding, we provide them a very cushiony kind of a background, everything provided in a platter. If submissions are not in time, we are stretching our deadlines. If they are not able to somewhere submit their assignments, we are helping them out with pointers so that the right kind of submissions can be made. So these are things I feel somewhere are so comfortable for a child that back in college, they somewhere feel very left out, feel very lost. So it's not only that it's the physical environment that is overwhelming for them, but what is also overwhelming is the way the curriculum is taken up in the college level or the university level. So it's a starking difference that in the way the child is dealt with. So I feel it is more important for us to handle the child in a more psychologically superior way, or psychologically give more support to them at the colleges as well, so that the transition is much smoother.
Let's talk about the real problems beyond the brochures and rankings. Those shiny brochures and rankings reveal a different story, but let's dig deeper. From your interactions with the students and your own alumni, what are the most common struggles the students face in their very first year of the university? Give us a very distinct sense of the difficulties they face.
Well, the first difficulty that they face is they are far removed from reality. So now it is a real world they're moving into. As we were speaking earlier, they are now facing real world problems. There's going to be somewhere at the professional level, they need to think of courses that are going to help them in their professional sphere. So they need to make sure that what the decisions that they are taking are going to be right. And there's nobody to guide them at that level. Yes, of course, you all have your counselors who are providing ample support. But the way the one-to-one guidance that a school would provide, a parent would provide, they are far away from it. So they need to now use their own sensibility in facing the problems that they're facing every day. The right kind of courses, the right kind of people around them. Their friends are now no longer the little friends that they used to have, where the problems were simple. Now the problems are manifold. It could go beyond friendship outside it could move into substance abuse, drinking problems, smoking problems. But a child now is into what I term clearly as a big bad world. That is the first step that this child is taking his step towards, because now no longer he's within the confine of those rules. You can't have your mobile into the classroom. We constantly do back checks and the kind. So now there is nobody to keep a check on them, but they are solely responsible to keep a check on themselves. So this is where the first step starts. And a child who first can handle this setup, which is very alien to his natural environment, is successful throughout. I too have grown up children today, a 30 and a 26-year-old. They have gone through the same problems. They've been in hostels. Hostels are very alienated. I remember my younger one, the first few days used to keep crying. He used to literally in tears tell me, Mama, it's so different. I don't know. I'm all alone and I feel lonely. So these are things that a child actually goes through. How much ever independent we as a school or we as a parent have kept them. So somewhere that kind of transition has to be set at the school level itself. They need to be at least exposed to it. That is my way of looking at it.
In fact, as a university educator, I have also observed that there is a bit of an emotional loneliness. There's a bit of a decision fatigue, what I see now, because in your first year, you're exposed to making choices in terms of what courses to take. At Vijayabhumi, we have 4 terms, and every term a student is expected to take courses, calculate the credit pathways, calculate the career pathways, attend variety of seminars, industry speakers coming in. So a lot to choose from, and therefore I can sense. But I must observe that in your response, none of the challenges you identified are really intelligence problems. They are limited transition problems. We must recognize that, which means they're really addressable questions. They are not really insurmountable mountains. Let's switch to the pressures schools today face from, let's say, boards, parents, rankings, results, because ultimately these are the realities of your life. We can't shy away from them. So therefore, while but preparing a student for university requires a slightly different mindset, slightly free mindset. In your view, what should schools really prioritize less, and what should they really prioritize more in order to help your students transition better?
Well, as per me, somewhere I feel personally schools are rather too result oriented. So somewhere, as I said, the exposure has to be manifold. We can't just, for us, it is more like delivering curriculum, getting the results, getting the children to deliver. So they are under performance pressure when it comes to academics. But now, when they are moving into the university, the performance pressure is not only on what the exam would ask for. It is, as you said, it is how they're going to be ready with the perfect blend of courses, the perfect scores, the perfect SOP that they would create for their future admissions, and also somewhere for their career pathways. So now, as a school, I feel which most of us are now trying to, we are attempting to do it, is to create a career pathway, or at least to, some way get our children oriented towards goal setting, set their goals right for the future. We are trying to do it from the school level itself. In fact, the other day I was attending a conference, which was for the career counseling conference, where the gentleman clearly happened to mention that somewhere down the line, the career counseling cells should start from grade 5, grade 6. So the mindset should be that, okay, I'm thinking of what I should do in my future. School should not be merely now just as a exam oriented center kind of a thing. Okay, we are performing, we are giving our exams, and the results are going to decide. It is not only that. There are lots of ways. Like today, you yourself mentioned there's so many assignments, so many submissions, so many other research papers that need to be submitted. But we as a school have always limited ourselves to maybe, taking the entire exam, or even if they're submissions, they are like structured. By this date, I want you to submit this part of the assignment. By the next 5 days, it has to be this part. So they're being structured by us, but we have to make our learners independent today. And that is something that I feel has to start from the younger years, to make learning independent with every child and make learning a passion. This is another thing that through my years I have realized. I think if a child is passionate about the course he's taken up, the credits he's taking, he will always deliver to the optimum. But somewhere, if we are kind of, moving them towards particular courses, the parent is guiding them towards courses, that might not always help the child. So a child has to be independently thinking about what he is going to take up for his future, and how he has to carve out the career path for himself. That is important as per me.
No, I think independence, cultivating independence is a watchword I hear from you. But if I can also add that, some amount of research skills, some amount of independent journaling, independent engaging in some amount of discussions, those are some of the things I would recommend that if schools would consider doing, that will also be, helpful. I want to pause here and speak to the students who will be tuning into this episode. Many of you guys are excited about the university, but also scared. You don't say it is loud, but you feel it. So therefore, Ms. Malakar, sorry, I beg your pardon, what would you like to tell the students who are about to enter university?
So can I just get your question once again?
What would you like to tell the students who are about to enter university?
Okay. So the first thing is they have to be culturally ready for a big change. So that is the mindset they enter that with. To be honest, every student who moves out of 12th or is in 11th, 12th, they have a very glorious picture of a university, because they're going to be out of those, shackles that we have kind of held them with, their parents have held them with. So there's a different picture that they go into a university with. But The day one that they enter university, there are various requirements that they need to somewhere surrender to. First of all, the discipline that was in school is in a different form there. They are responsible for their discipline. Nobody is going to penalize them or going to charge them on that. But the output of how they are disciplined is going to finally show at the end of the year. If they are somewhere being late outs, not attending classes, or not being in time for their classes, the penalty is not in their marks or in any way, but their performance. So somewhere it is all it's a circle that goes on. So first and foremost, the child has to go with the mindset that he is going into a much more a larger sphere of his school, which is going to be a school-like replica, but where he is accountable for his own actions. That is the first thing that the child needs to feel. Secondly, as we said, the curriculum is going to be developed or is going to be taken up in a very different manner. So somewhere if the school can inculcate those habits, like we spoke about research, doing more of research, submitting our assignments on time, talking about more, experimental methods that they would take up as they move perhaps in the sciences and those kind of courses. So they are somewhere ready for that kind of hard work, because there it is not merely a 8 to 7:30 to 2 o'clock regime that they would be working on. It would require far more rigor and far more, effort for the child. So somewhere if we can build that kind of platform where they are ready for what they're going to face, I think the transition would be much smoother.
Fantastic. And as you would know, this podcast will be heard by teachers, school leaders across the country. So, one final question for them. What is that one mindset shift that must urgently make to remain relevant, which the schools must urgently make to remain relevant in this transition journey? I mean, for example, how can schools and principals and teachers really shift from exam success to life readiness? What is that one single message you would like to give to the educators?
My single and only message would be that we need to prepare the future generation to face adversities. Because today, that is something I feel is very strongly lacking in our younger generation. The ability to actually face failures and adversities. So if a school could somewhere create, somewhere, yes, we have gone wrong perhaps, because we have removed that examination kind of system, result oriented, where there are no failures. Even in our times, people failed, but everybody was ready to take up the next year again, or to give up their compartmentals again with, they were motivated to do it. But today, failures have taken up so strongly with our learners that they are just not ready to face these failures in life. So I think every school somewhere has to have sessions with children, which has to go beyond the curriculum, where we have a very honest talk about the fears and the battles that they're going to face in their life. These are sessions that I, as a principal, do recommend with my counselors as well, so that they talk to their children or to the students often about failures that their life would somewhere finally end in. It is after multiple failures that we all get our success. And that's something I feel every child should grow up with, that thought process. That will help them be successful not only in their careers, but in any pathway, even at the university level. That is important.
Translate failures into an asset. What a message. I'm really liking this. In closing, let me say that the transition from school to university is not just an academic step. It is, to me, a psychological and identity shift. When schools, universities, parents, and students understand this together, the transition becomes smoother and more meaningful, perhaps. Thank you very much, Ms. Suchita Malakka, for sharing such grounded and forward-looking insights. To the students who are tuning in, let me say, be patient with yourself.
Thank you
To the
so
teachers and principals, I would like to say your influence lasts beyond the board results. Please mind the gap. Until
Yes.
next time, let's continue building bridges, not just between institutions, but between learning and life. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Dr. Sharma. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Suchita ma'am, for sharing your views. And thank you, Dr. Sharma, for guiding through this conversation. Thank you.
Thank
On behalf
you.
of EduTV, I thank you both of you once again. Stania signing off from EduTV.
Thank you. Bye-bye.